Tonight, tensions are rising. As the elimination round of 32 concludes, a rookie is faced with the task of taking down the reigning champion. And after a crushing defeat, a BashBots legend is faced with a rematch 2 years in the making. It's the last chance to secure a spot in the round of 16. And it's all coming up tonight on BashBots.
Hello everybody and welcome back to BashBots. I'm your host D-Dominus Ignis and this is the final night of the round of 32. Things are heating up with half the slots in the next round remaining and tonight we will fill them all. The robots that lose tonight will be heading home, but the robots that win will still have a shot at winning this. The Giant Wrench and the title of BashBots Season 3 Champion. Taking a look at the bracket, we can see our 8 remaining matchups. We will see some interesting fights in this episode as the reigning champion Polis, who was only given the number 4 seed, faces off against Jade in the first fight of the night. And at the end of the night, we will see a legendary rematch between Migronic and Firewave, 2 years in the making. We've seen some upsets already too in Quadrant 4 of our bracket as 2 wildcards, Sucker Punch and Cyberstorm, both defeated higher seeds to move on to the round of 16. We're going to get things going with the 4 seed Polis taking on the 29 seed Jade to take on Cyberstorm in the next round. Let's take a look at how these robots made it to the round of 32. Kroger and his flipper Polis fought Waluigi hat, and in a short match of high flips, the champ got the vertical spinner stuck over the spinning drums of the arena and won by knockout. Jade faced off against Hospice in the qualifiers, and after sustaining damage to the lifter, making it unable to lift, it lost the judge's decision. It then fought in the wildcard rumbles alongside Navigator and Orca, where in a clumsy match where no robot really did anything, they managed to come out on top in the judge's decision. This, however, was only seen as good enough to earn them the number 29 seed and a match against the competition's deadliest flipper. Let's send it down to the damn beaver to break down the fight.
We all know what you want here, so let's get the reigning champion right back into the fray. Fresh from defeating New Super Waluigi Time Machine Avengers 4 Deluxe Definitive Edition, our favourite flipper is ready to make a charge through the bracket. At the 4th seed, it is not to be taken lightly at all, but we can be sure that Jade will not be doing that in the slightest. It may have lost against Hospice in the qualifying rounds, but it burst through the Redemption Rumbles and now stands ready to face Polis. Each robot has counters to each other, so on paper it's pretty balanced. But in practice, let's just see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's robot fighting time! Let's bring out the bots! In the red square, from Ireland, the builder could be rigging the competition for all we know, it's Polis!
And opening up our first fight of the night, we've got the number 4 seed Polis, but man, I cannot get used to calling them the 4th seed. They are the reigning champion and they haven't put a foot wrong so far. As far as I'm concerned, they're destined for greatness again.
In the blue square, from the USA, it drives about as slow as my grandmother, it's Jade!
It's going to be a bit of a task here for our number 29 seed to beat the champion. Jade is that machine with Pingu for company. It's got here via the wildcard rumbles. It's not the most explosive machine. Will it be able to control our reigning champion maybe? It will be an upset of grand proportions.
Fighting Jade will be quite similar to Hospice last season, so there isn't really much of a plan. I'm just gonna flip him around a bit, see how it goes.
Alright, so I'm up against the champ, one of the best robots in the competition, and one of the best drivers in the competition. Odds are really stacked against me, but I have something Kroger doesn't, and that's brains. So Kroger lives in Ireland, right? So yesterday, I went into a bunch of nearby parks and I placed nuts on the ground. Creating a massive rupture in the ocean floor. This will cause a crack to form in the Eurasian tectonic plate, forming a rift in the crust of the planet beneath Ireland. Ireland will then sink into the mantle of the Earth, splitting into pieces and taking Kroger with it. Being dead under the ocean, Kroger won't be able to drive anymore, and I will drop Polis into the pit and take the easy win.
Well, it's a good job then that Polis's driver is out here at the BashBots arena, eh? And not within Ireland itself. I fear for the safety of the country, but for now we will have Polis versus Jade.
Well, are we about to see one of the BashBots master plans from Jade? Jade?
I'm gonna go with yes, maybe?
Hobo Drew from Team Jade outlined everything for a win here. Let's say that wasn't the best start, and our reigning champion is looking to make things very plain sailing.
Certainly when you formulate your strategies for the BashBots title, you probably want to keep things to the realms of possibility within the BashBots arena. But that's exactly what Polis wants to eject Jade from. That's not one of our out corners, but they're going to try and make it one by burying a massive hole in the arena wall.
One of the most dominant starts we've seen in BashBots this season already, and is Jade going to get down from there at all? The count out has started. Can it wobble and wriggle its way free? Polis won't help it. 3 seconds, 2. Oh, it is just back down. Well, Jade, you have had a let-off. Now, can you get back into this somehow?
I think they needed some kind of crater to open up under the arena grinders there, but they've made it back regardless just to get yeeted back into them.
Yeah, Jade, maybe stay on your back completely, mate. I think you might be done here. We've had a minute and a half so far. This has been absolutely one-way traffic, and it's without any exaggeration here. Lining up another flip there is Polish. The pit button is enabled. Jade is stationary again, now on its own weapon, would you believe? What can it do here?
Yes, I think we've got a pretty rare BashBots example of a KO from a flip that doesn't involve throwing them out the arena. It almost could have put Jade back into action there, but no, all those flips have taken their toll, and Polis has just completely knocked Jade out.
Absolutely brutal from the champion.
So over here in our BashBots arena, in whatever unspecified location that may be, this was a complete 100-0 romp. I would love to give Jade credit for something, maybe making it halfway through the match is the best thing I can say, but the champion on absolute top form, making a mockery of their 4th seeding. This was superb.
And winning by knockout, Polis moves on to the round of 16 and we say goodbye to Jade. It's time for the second fight of the night as Liberator and Arachnid battle it out for a spot in the next round and a chance to fight Cosmo. Let's take a look at how these robots made it to this stage of the tournament. The rookie of Hunter and his ring spinner Liberator took on the vertical disc of Manticore in the qualifiers. After several big hits, the damage took a toll on Manticore and the chassis was ripped away from the rest of the robot, leaving Liberator to win by knockout. The selection committee saw this performance as good enough to earn them the number 7 seed. Arachnid faced off against Cyberstorm. After getting off to a bad start, Fortune turned in the way of the vertical spinner as they damaged Cyberstorm's flipper. When it self-righted, the flipper jammed open due to the damage sustained and Arachnid won by a knockout. Unfortunately for them, the selection committee only saw their performance as good enough to earn the number 26 seed.
In the red square from the USA, it's likely appeared in a few MAGA rallies. It's Liberator! new square from the USA. Its builder only got here last season through pure luck. It's Arachnid!
Well, it was very similar to the last fight I had. Spinning up, trying to knock the wedge off the personal wheels, like little nice tasty wheels in the back there.
So my strategy is to ram at him as hard as I can, make sure he does not open the pit, and try to get him out of the arena because he was pretty a lot of force. So.
Well, here in the round of 32, we've found two brand new robots for you to see. We've got the 7th seed Liberator and the 26th seed Arachnid. Should be a good one.
Well, which of these two bits of new blood can make even headier heights by getting through the round of 32? Awkward start there by Liberator, flipping Arachnid immediately, which is tumbling into the screws before coming back down in the opening 15.
Yes, making an early effort to show why they are the 7th seed. They've handled this one very nicely. No huge blows from that ring spinner. And they suddenly get launched up into the air with a bit of a foolish drive.
Yes, and Arachnid can close in here. Liberator not up to speed. Tries to get that chunky vertical spinner into play. The flamethrower spurting as well out of the front of the 26th seed. Good little attack there.
Certainly flying the flag for whatever country they believe in. I think we can guess. But Arachnid doing it for the Spiders as they start to burn the flag. That's illegal, you know.
Well, Liberator's had a couple of interesting hits in this one. So has Arachnid. Spent its time on its pack while I was commentating there. And again, this is a very curious fight so far. And, well, now it's exposed its wheel, which has gone off. And this fight's turning around again. I don't really know what to say. Both machines have shown some signs of inexperience here, and there's another one. Oh dear.
They go into completely the wrong part of the scoop there. Obviously, when you've got a spinning weapon, you want to try and catch those corners to send the other robot spinning across the arena. But Liberator spinning anti-clockwise, and they went to that corner that just didn't match up with it. And again, they are hitting on the front of the wedge and not flipping the back side of it as they want to be doing. But they are still well on top, having taken that wheel off. And if it goes to the judges, then I would certainly have their backing here.
For the pit now, Arachnid, as they've been knocked over once again. Is there something they can do in the closing minute? Arachnid has spent most of its time rumbling over with such an awkward design. They can't really stay on their feet when they take a massive, massive blow. And at the moment, Liberator seems set to progress to the final 16.
Clearly the hope here from Arachnid is they want to deflect Liberator into the pit with one of those big vertical spinner blows. That's the problem with full body spin, is you can never tell quite what's going to happen when you touch the other robot. But here Arachnid definitely coming off worse as they get blasted into the grinders. Nearly happens to Liberator though.
It's a very interesting fight. As you say, the full body spinners are normally the ones more uncontrolled and unbalanced, but there's another example of Arachnid that's just been spinning, and not just with its weapon, for the whole fight, and now it might be suspended and not quite. 4 seconds to play, and there goes another wheel.
Why not?
There is Cease. Well then, interesting fight.
There's just about one wheel left on Arachnid. We don't know quite how mobile they would have been, but I don't think the judges needed that information too much. This was pretty much a one-way trip from Liberator all the way through. Arachnid did land some good shots like that one, but usually via Liberator putting themselves in the path of Arachnid's spinner, and they definitely got the more damage, taking those wheels off, and the more controlled attacks.
The judges' results are in! The winner by unanimous decision is Liberator!
And winning by judges' decision, the rookies of Liberator secure their spot in the round of 16. It's time for the third fight of the night as the 15 seed Tracker takes on the 18 seed Dynamite in a battle of the flippers. Let's catch up with the teams after their qualifying round victories. George the Jedi and his robot Tracker faced off against Silencer. In a short but sweet fight, the horizontal spinner was flipped onto the drums by Tracker and the bar became wedged against the wall. They were counted out and Tracker moved on. Grim and his 4-bar flipper Dynamite fought Fatboy Tin. After suffering weapon issues at the start of the fight, Fatboy Tin was no match for Dynamite's heavy armor and they were bullied around the arena, eventually falling in the pit with just seconds to go.
In the red square from England, it's a moving, potentially explosive speed bump. It's Dynamite! In the blue square from the USA, it's a suspiciously big upgrade from Joyer. It's Tracker!
Okay, well, Tracker is something of a legend in Gary's world. I've not really thought the new version right. Should be an interesting fight, Flipper versus Flipper. It's going to come down to who gets the opportunity near the user zones first. So, just gotta try and outride him, which is going to be hard.
So my strategy against Dynamite is to use my heavier HS wedges and hope that they can get under him, because he's got wedges on 3 of 4 sides, and that does not make me very confident. So I'm going to hope I can outdrive him and flip him over.
Well, fans of Fatboy Tin will be watching on. Dynamite is the machine that vanquished it in the earlier rounds. Can they do it against Tracker?
Good luck, and a better lot win.
May the odds be ever in your favour.
Time for 2 stealthy, low-looking machines here, Dynamite and Tracker.
Yeah, similar in design and in seeding, but that flipper of Tracker is definitely showing its power. Dynamite with the 4-bar flipper, which we can see.
Oh dear!
Writing. Not any actual attacks on the opponent so far. This is all Tracker in the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, very controlled stuff here from the blue and the black machine. Trying to skirt round to the side of Dynamite again, and does, and flings it up. Dynamite flicking itself back over, but just can't seem to stay grounded enough to get round to Tracker's vulnerable areas at the moment. Really struggling to get around that wider front plow as Tracker tries to push Dynamite back towards the screws.
Yeah, if you were Dynamite, you'd pretty much want to start again here. This has not gone their way in any capacity. You'd be hitting the retry button were this some kind of video.
Oh my! What?
There's no retries when you're out of the arena. They've flipped themselves back in now, but it doesn't matter. Once you go out of that arena wall, it is too late. You are done. And here is the success story from Tracker. Absolutely never let up on Dynamite. They got repeated flips. Dynamite could only try and self-right. Not doing it for the Fatboy Tin fans here. Tracker just completely totaled them. Some of the most dominance we've seen from a non-spinner in this tournament. And eventually, with a brutal ramming attack, out of the arena went Dynamite.
Winning by an out-of-the-arena push, Tracker moves on to the round of 16 as we say goodbye to Dynamite. Before the final fight of the night, we're going to show you how 4 more teams made it into the next round. First up, the Season 1 champion Sparks took on Glacier Free. While the flipper proved to be somewhat effective on Sparks, the damage added up throughout the fight and it didn't take long for the horizontal spinner to deal the killing blow to Glacier.
What a devastating blow by Sparks.
After that, Sploodle and his number 2 seed bot Amber faced off against Yukitom and the 31 seeded Irod. The fight didn't last long, with the vertical spinner brutally ripping apart Irod until no wheels remained.
This is absolutely brutal.
Irod in pieces all over the arena.
The third fight saw the number 11 seed Atlas take on Blazo Discus. In a 3-minute battle of domination, the vertical spinner hardly caused a scratch to the armor of the control bot, and Atlas won the judge's decision.
Atlas is absolutely dominating Blazo Discus right now.
The final fight saw the highest seeded rookie Claymore take on Catch in a battle of the flippers. The Roboteer showed that he was here for one reason only, and similar to his qualifying round fight, flipped Catch out of the arena less than 30 seconds into the fight.
This guy really means business.
It's time for the fourth and final fight of the night, as we see a rematch 2 years in the making between the 14 seed Micronic and the 19 seed Firewave. In the first ever aired fight in BashBots back in Season 1, Firewave and Micronic squared off in the BashBox, both with high hopes. It didn't take long for Firewave to rip the flipper apart, becoming one of the most iconic images in the sport to date. Micronic will be hoping for a reversal of fortune in this fight with their new spinner killer armor. Let's send it down to the damn Beaver to break down the final fight of the round of 32.
So, here's a hypothetical for you all. Who loves a rematch? Because I sure as heck do. Way back in the midst of time in Season 1, these two robots clashed, with Firewave taking a very clear and a very destructive victory. Micronic has improved so much, however, mostly in defense, and it even matches Firewave in the weapon stat. Despite what last time may have taught us, this time may just teach us how much robots can improve in just a few years. In fact, Firewave is the underdog looking at these stats despite winning the first time, so they're going to have to pull everything they can out of their bags of tricks to win this one. Or they can just go in all guns blazing. So, little warning, if they do that, be ready to duck.
In the red square, from France, maybe this year is finally the year. Who am I kidding? It's Firewave!
And our main event of the night, effectively a rematch of the first BashBots fight we ever saw, that being Firewave against Migronic. That's how it ended previously for one of Firewave's opponents in the Wildcard Rumbles.
In the blue square, from the Netherlands, it could be a completely different robot and still have the same name. It's Migronic!
And here is Migronic. Can you tell the difference? It's looking a little bit beefier than it has on previous occasions. Migronic showed its flipper previously in this tournament. Now it will have to show how much of a thick boy it is to beat Firewave.
So I have to fight Migronic again, and this time it actually seems to be somewhat well put together. So I know he has a beefy wedge up front, so I'll probably not be able to break that in a full 3-minute fight, but he has hedges I can catch. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the idea, just tank the just like hit the edges, try to like knock him back and stuff like that, and wait for an opening so I can hit the chassis directly and hopefully kill him that way.
So I'm fighting Firewave, which is the big massive overhead spinner that killed me in Season 1. This time I've designed my robot completely to take on those kind of robots. So my strategy is just go in, keep him from spinning up, flip him over a lot, and then if that I can flip him over enough, he might run out of 3 mech flips, and then it will be a very easy fight then.
So this is still a very different matchup to the one that kicked off BashBots overall. Micronic's so heavily improved, it's actually the higher seed here. Can they live up to that and get revenge?
Here we go in the main fight of the night. Migronic trying to engage Firewave early on with that reinforced plow, but what isn't reinforced is the flanks and the rear of Migronic. Big early blow taken there.
Yes, lessons learned. They have that scoop designed specifically for taking on Firewave, and that's how well it works when they get those frontal assaults. Just need to make sure that front is always pointing at Firewave, and, well, it helps when Firewave goes on a one-way tour across all of the arena hazards.
Yeah, ending with our lovely floor flipper, which always seems to get involved in some way. Migronic there had its back exposed again for a brief second, but you can see the front itself looking rather unscathed so far.
Can't understate, of course, Firewave is still being aggressive. They are landing those spinner hits. Over they go. That's the first flipper attack we've seen from Migronic of the night, and if that pit were open, well, that would be the end of the match right there.
Yeah, Migronic temporarily there getting entangled with the arena spike, which has shown a little tendency for getting involved! And up goes Firewave this time! Wow, shooting for the skies!
And there we line up another brilliant flip! And right into the corner, they're lucky to stay on the ground there. All of a sudden, you can see the flashbacks in Micronic's mind, knowing the time it was torn to bits by Firewave to kick off this entire series, but they are winning this one in my books. Can they keep it up in the second half of the fight here?
Migronic's still on its case. That's a really chunky deflection. Firewave again self-righting, but Migronic looks sturdy and stern. And is it going to be able to exact revenge in this one?
Yes, I could not call it. You have to assume that those damage points from Firewave are still going to be critical. That's the one thing that Migronic hasn't really offered in this match, but what can they do to damage the mighty Firewave? This is a close one.
50 seconds to play. Migronic has paced itself well here, and Firewave still, as has been previously mentioned, has the main damage so far. But are we waiting for a moment of decision? A moment of impact? 40 seconds to play.
At the very least, if you can't do any damage, then you've got to win those control and aggression points. Migronic hasn't made a direct attack in quite a while now. Firewave may be slipping ahead here, but Migronic, if anyone's going to have the plot armor, it's them. They want revenge for that fight so long ago, and that is a great flip.
You can see the desperation in Migronic's attacks. It's been a brave effort. It's still chugging on. But will this effort be enough for victory?
No!
This is mighty tight, and one last attack. Oh my word! Talk about pacing yourself to perfection. What a win by Migronic.
In Christ, well, fuck me sideways.
Well, answers on a postcard. Who would have won that on a judge's decision? I don't know, but we were 2 seconds away from that dilemma. But no, it is a knockout. We don't need countouts when you exit the arena. That is instant elimination and a huge play from Micronic. They have avenged that loss from so long ago, and Firewave is out of the arena. Well done.
And taking a last second out of the arena, Micronic gets redemption for their Season 1 loss to Firewave and secured their spot in the round of 16. They will face off against the number 3 seed Thunderwave in another rematch. And with that, the round of 16 is now set for the next episode. 16 of the toughest robots in the competition remain, and we are set to see some spectacular matches. That's all from us tonight here at BashBots, and we thank you all for watching. Join us next time when the quest for the giant wrench will continue. Until then, good night.
Next time on BashBots. The round of 16 begins. A match between 2 of the deadliest spinners in the competition. 3 contenders make their first appearance. And a rematch born from the ashes of a destructive defeat. It's all coming up next time on BashBots.